Okay, just dressed the stone 7/16, and I'm going to go ahead and take a cut on these legacies, Ultima legacies here. And we're going to check the squareness. I'm going to kick the vacuum on in a second. Okay, got it going. There's the quick switch. There's one little place here that I had an error in, so I went back and just did a couple little cuts on there. Take one last cut. Go ahead and turn off the vacuum using a Model F Electrolux. Okay, got the skate still in the holder, but I've got it off the machine. And this is just a gross thing. They use this a lot of times in hockey. And the length of that isn't really that long. You can see if you got a gross hair. With the Incredible Edger, they've got a double steel square here from Starrett. And I'm going to do this first with it in the holder here. You can actually put this down so the flat of this is actually touching the blade. And you can sight along here to see. It may be difficult to photograph. And down here, I can go through and see that that's correct. You can go farther down. I can take this out of the holder to look at it, or I can go through and shorten this up. And I've got to go ahead and shorten that up. Now with this shortened up, this is really not, doesn't have that much. I can just detect a gross error, and I can see from down here that it looks correct. Then I'm going to go ahead and take the skate out of the holder just as a double check too. Okay, I've taken the skate out of the holder. These are Ultima legacies, and let me see if I can be able to get this a little bit better. Got the square. This side on this particular blade is parallel to this other side, and then you have the side hone, the relief here. This is actually, right here is this non-chromed area. So that's not a good reference, but this is a good reference on this particular blade. So I've got this extended. This is going to go on the top of the you can actually see through like that. I need to get a better focus. Then I can see whether I've got this matched up like this. It's close. I could probably get a little bit better in there. If I put both of those on there, you can detect whether it's parallelism. If you get it really close, it's really easy to detect if you have an error. So you go down here and do it at this end, and then at this end. You want to see if it's like this or like this. But when it's really close, it's easy to detect if you've got any, one edge is higher or lower. So I'm using this side of the square, it's touching the skate blade, and then I'm looking to where it touches, using this as a reference surface to see if exaggerated, if it's like this or this. And let me just show you over here. See if I can quickly sketch this up. The blade exaggerated. Looks like this. and the square is going in here like this. The square is going, touching these two surfaces and going down and mating on this to see if it's like this or like this. So if it touches right over here, you can see a gap that's going over, or if it touches down here and you see the gap over here, it means that this is low and this is high. So it's this type of thing. Is basically doing the same as this, but it's a little bit more accurate to see. Depends how finicky you are, whether 1 inch is either high or low or not. It can make a lot of difference with some skaters. This has got a 7/16 inch. Again, this is the fixture for holding the blade. This goes on here like this. And I was able with this particular blade to measure about, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch up onto here. But you can get a little bit more taken out of the holder. So you can get it pretty much very close with it in the holder. Take it out, you've got the whole side chrome. Again, this particular blade, these are parallel. Some blades are not. You get some that are like this. You can look at your reflection in the side here to see if that's the type of reflection, to see what it is. With this, you have a different type of reference. Okay, these are John Wilson gold seals, and they have a profile through the cross section here like that. So if you use a square on there, if you use just a gizmo like this to get it rough, you're eyeballing it. With the square here, when you put this up, you're going to get the kind of curve shaped gap under there like that. So that actually is touching here and here. You just got to be careful. This is thinner here than it here or here. Now if somebody ground this edge down again, you're going to be in trouble. If somebody goes through and grinds this down, you might want to go through and mic between here and here to make sure you've actually got a decent reference. Or go ahead and check both sides. Go ahead and measure this side for squareness and go this side before you decide one side is higher than another. Those are gold seal. John Wilson. Okay, with these Paramount blades, with kind of like the diamond cross section where that's aluminum, the question lies is, what do you have for a reference? You know, you can put a gizmo like this on here and make sure you got a real long baseline. If you get the square on here like this, what are you actually measuring to? You're going to measure the spot side of this stanchion right here. You've got one spot. Extending that down. Let's go look at that real quick. The surface I clamped with the skate holder through here, I could go theoretically and put the square on here and measure with respect to that and flip it over and then have this as a reference surface. But again, I'm only going to have a surface here, one right through here, and maybe down through here. which is a little bit exciting to figure out if you're actually on the money or not. Very difficult. So you just wonder if you should have a fixture grabs the side and have a magnetic one and have a long moment arm here, longer arm, to see if there's any cross error. So if you use this as the reference surface through here, and then you had this longer with the magnet holding a straight edge, so you can measure it off this way to detect some changes. Because the datum on here, only thing I can see you could use is this part right through here, which isn't very much, or over right through here. And then this whole other region you don't have anything really to measure with respect to.